It's the 5th of August. I'm back down the allotment to harvest these onions. Because we've had a fair bit of wind, I actually thought the wind's going to topple these. We had some heavy rains as well, but I think it's just forecast the odd bit of patchy rain for the sort of coming week or two. So it's kind of ideal drying conditions, to be honest. So I'm going to get these lifted today. I'll probably give them a few days here just to, dry the initial bit out. And then get them back home and they can go on the drying rack, which is where the red onions are, because I took the red onions home a few days ago to put them on the actual rack. So I left them up here for about 24 hours I think, and I took them home, so I wasn't getting the back of the van all wet, and they're all on the rack. So I don't know how many there's in here, because there's a couple of white ones I took home as well because it toppled. Garlic, yeah, most of it's sort of toppled. It's quite weak, it's covered in rust. So I'm going to dig my garlic up today. So there's quite a lot to do, so I'm going to pull all these. There's probably, 120 left in here now, something like that. And there's 60 garlic, and hopefully my Morris pears, because they're starting to look a bit tatty. I've not really looked properly at them, whether they've got blight or not. But to be honest, I'm not really bothered. I'm just going to start digging them out now, and then probably another couple of weeks I'll come up and get the oiler out. Apart from that, without really looking, everything else seems to be tickling along okay. The late brassicas, everything's looking all right. Sweet corn's doing its thing. The little blonde tassels are going brown, so I should imagine there'll be some corn soon. How well it's done, I don't know, because it is a bit exposed here, so sometimes when they're trying to pollinate, if it gets a bit too windy, the pollen can blow elsewhere when you want it to just drop over around that area. That's why you have to plant them in blocks. So I've got a lot to do, so I'll film bits of it, and then we'll have a look at what I get done today, because I always set myself an impossible goal half the time and you never quite get it done. And obviously I've got more blueberries to pick as well, so they've been chucking them out. I got another punnet full the other day, and they're about nearly 2 kilo in a punnet, so whether that is 2 kilos, like nearly £4, 3.5, £4, something like that in a punnet. It's a bit gone crazy, but not complaining. Freeze it down, make the lollies and cheesecake sauce out of it and stuff like that. It's all food. It's all the work you put in at the start of the year. This is where it pays off now. You can get some problems. Peas have been a bit, they're just starting to tack in now a bit, because they've been looking a bit mildewy, so I've just got to keep an eye on them. But it's a bonus crop. So anything from now is sort of like a second sowing or planting. It's all bonus. If it survives the weather, then great. So we'll get on and pick some onions. All the onions out, they're all hung up, bar for about 7, which I haven't got room for on this sort of makeshift rack I've got here, so I'll probably just take them home and put them on the rack at home. But I'm just sort of hand weeding this bed. I'm going to rake it over. I'm going to decide what I'm going to do with it yet. I might have a few things I can put in, or I might just cover it up, but I don't have to decide today. I can do it next week. When you've had a decent year and you get a good crop, you don't have to just keep growing and growing. I mean, you could do if you've got the freezer space, but I can't grumble, out of this bed. I think there's 119 onions I've just pulled out. I've just taking them all back to a single skin. I used to just take them home and do it there, but I thought, well, might as well put all the stuff I peel off into the compost bin here. It just saves like contaminating ground between here and home, if you know what I mean. So plus it's a job less to do when I get home, because usually when you've been here all day and you get home, get all the stuff out of the van and you're faced with 100 odd onions to skin. It's the last thing you want to do there and it's so much easier. Because I used to try and do it within a couple of days, but if you do it just after you've pulled them out of the ground, it just peels off nice and easy. So once it goes to like paper, peeling it off in bits, you know, and it's still slightly, not as much living, but there's a little bit of life in it. Peel it off, it's great. So I'll clear this bed, rake it over, and I'll get the garlic up then, because I'll have to peel that, and probably hang that here actually as well. Might try and construct something along here and just hang it from this, or over itself there somewhere, obviously because there's a bit of rust that's dropped all. You know, all the rust it's had on there, we dropped there, so I might just hang it over there, so if it rains at all, at least it washes it, keeps it on that bed. I don't think it'll overwinter. You know, I tend to get it most years, but it's just one of the things, just being in that sort of ideal environment to get it. I'm not going to go mad with this bed, because I might be topping it up with something, I might not, I don't know. There's not a lot of room to fill it up, to be honest, so I might just leave it, and then if I'm going to cover it, I'll bring some screws and washers down with me, and I'll cover it over, and that's this bed put to bed then, until next year, when it all starts again. But like I say, I've got lettuce and things like that, well, on Deve. The seedlings are still okay. I've kind of neglected the seedlings because you end up with that many jobs to do, you know, on top of everything else. It's quite easy to forget about seedlings when the sun's out and then they dry out. But you know, I could resow some more. It's mainly for cane on Deve. You know, I'm not doing like any early sprouting broccoli. It was alright, but ideally I don't want to be here early in the year. I want to try and get everything done, kind of roll up next spring and just get planting. Very little prep. It's so important to get your prep done, not in the growing season, really. You know, when everything's coming to an end and you're not putting anything else in the bed. You know, if you want to load it up with stuff, that's the time to do it. Because then it's got a little disturbance the year after. You can just rake it over the top to level it out. If you want to put some, you know, bloodfish and bone in or whatever, you can do that sort of a month before you're going to plant into it. You don't have to, I mean, sometimes bone meal or just calcified seaweed, things like that, you know, some of the trace elements. I just think a good mix, you know, let's put some kitchen waste stuff, manure, leaves, twigs, all that sort of stuff. It'll have a lot of elements in there. The wind will blow some of these bits of dry onion tops and roots. You tend to get more roots with the garlic and leeks, like spaghetti. Sometimes I find the birds tend to take them away and sort of what they do with them, because they're not building nests with it. But I think that'll do for that. So if I'm going to cover it, I'll take this hoop off, because if I'm covering it, I want to make sure I've got it covered all the way around. You leave a little gap, you see, it's tough to grass or weeds can get a bit of light. You need a bit of a top foliage to be growing and it can put a root network out. So I'm going with garlic now, so I possibly need a fork to dig that up, or to loosen the soil anyway, because it'll be well anchored, because garlic has massive roots. And then we'll wash it off and probably strip 1 or 2 layers off that, and that can be hung up. Probably weed some of this as I go maybe, because it's thistle, so it's imperative you get the root out, otherwise it'll just grow back. But it's been fairly weed free. I think I've only weeded this bed once, and there's not a net to stop anything, so I suppose we've had like the dry spells, not stopped anything from germinating, but now we've had rain and that, there's little seedlings, which will be thistles, because this time of year, over on the farm, a massive patch of thistles, and I've seen them blowing about all over the place. The nets do catch some, but I don't mind if you can, catch them early on in the year. It's kind of like just about when you're going to plant things out. Skim anything off with a hoe on a dry day, if you get such a thing in the spring, and then just gives you the upper hand, where your plants will have a head start. So the tops have gone on these, they're all folding. There's no there to hold them up, so I'm more than happy to lift them now. But if they come up with this, no, they're not going to come up with that. There's some massive roots on these. It's quite a firm bed, this. Fingers crossed they're a reasonable size. Try and get hold of it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, it's a decent size. Last year was a great crop. But, yeah, there, I'm happy with them. Just lay them on that path there. It's going to take me a while to get these up, I think. Seems a shame because you're bringing all the soil up from underneath, which could have what weed seeds in, and no idea. But not much we can do about that. It'd be nice if they're all that sort of size. You usually always get a bit of a runt, but. Try to do this without lifting loads of soil up there, I can help it. But I will be washing these off anyway to get them as clean as I can. It's like a lot of fungal, spore-based sort of diseases. They don't like sunlight. They don't like anything dry. They need moisture. So the quicker you can get them dry, less problems you'll have. Obviously, if you get a little bit of a shower or a downpour and it's followed by a bit of wind and sun, it's not going to really start anything up. Still got some garlic left from last year actually, and it's still firm. Saving some of these to start next year's off. All in all, so far looking alright. I'll go with the rest of these. It's quite repetitive. It's a very welcome sight after whatever it was back in January, February when I started these off in pots. I might try some next year. I might sow some in pots and then sow some direct, just to see, you know, because it saves sowing in pots, then fine. Just depends how wet it is. I don't want to be putting anything when they rot off. I'll walk all over this bed again to trample it back down after. Try and keep as much of that sort of subsoil down below, and then just break the top over. You know, anything that's going to germinate will germinate in a couple of weeks. I can just pull that off. So we shall carry on with this. Right, that's all garlic out. It's all washed. It's kind of gone back to one skin. Just been going around, just washed it off and peeling like this loose skin off. Give them a wash. A lot of that will just turn to paper and flake off. But they're cleaned up, so I've got them. And end up knocking another sort of temporary rack up down here with the rest in. So yeah, there's 60 altogether, I think. I've not counted them. But yeah, not as big as last year, but some of them are. But overall, it's a decent crop. So it's just a case of drying them out. Onions, well, you know, they're all hung. So I don't know how sturdy that frame's going to be. But we shall soon find out. I'm not going to leave them here for ages. I'll come up in a few days to check them. But I'm going to have a breather for a bit, and I might tackle these potatoes. Because time's getting on now. I've been here about 4.5 hours already just doing this lot. So it is time consuming, but you've got to get this bit right if you want to get them to store. Otherwise, if they're full of muck and you don't spot any bad bits, it could turn, if it's in a string, it can turn the whole lot off. So I shall crack on with some more jobs. That's the Maris pears out. I did lose quite a few. I did dink a few with the fork, so I ended up digging them out by hand, a bit like a rabbit, so it's taking ages. Because obviously things have been tunnelling. I'd lost track of where obviously the mound was, so it was quite hard work getting them out because that tight compacted together. You know, because I only dug a spade trench when I planted them, and some of them they were quite big and they like really crammed together. So and I've got bonus 4 Sao Palmyra, so there must have been a volunteer one. So it's a bonus crop. So I've got just over £7 of waste there, and I've got 78 pound of the Maris pears. Random sizes. There's some that are huge, a bit of scab on them, probably down to a dry spell, I should imagine, because there's a couple that had split down the bottom end, so they've had a dry spell and obviously a big glug of water, and it's just kind of made them split. No slug damage or anything like that, just mainly like rodent damage, to be honest, and a couple that are rotted off. I've not redug that over. There's probably a few left over, sort of tucked to the sides, but it's just taken me ages to dig all them out by hand. So I've probably worn my fingers through on the gloves. But just thank God I've had my gloves with me. So just going to sort of take everything over to the van, leave them dry because I've washed them, because they're covered in mud, and I thought if I wash them I'll get some spores off if there's any blight spores on them. It just keeps them a bit cleaner. I can sort of assess them in a few days and see if there's any damage then. I would leave them in my shed, but I'll let them drain the wheelbarrow while I pick these blueberries. So I should imagine I'll probably put it in the description if I can remember what I get out of here today. But I'm half thinking there's going to be at least another, I don't know, £2 to £3 probably I'll pull out of there today. Yeah, all in all, it's been a long day. And I've got a little feathered friend. I don't know if you can see him right over there, but he's been following me around, picking all the little caterpillars up and stuff, like a little robin. But I don't mind, he can do his thing. So hopefully there isn't too many tunnels. There is the odd tunnel in the Orla, but I'm hoping they've kind of left them alone a bit. And like I say, I don't know how much longer to leave them because slugs do like them. So I had it the other year where I left them a bit long and they were full of slug holes, and actually like pretty much threw the whole 2 rows away. So if I can get like, you know, £60 out of each one of them rows, I'll be happy, because there's only 17 in each row. So if I can get you know, 100 to £140 out of them, I'll be more than happy, because whatever that'll tally the whole lot up to. I've got it wrote down in the shed. Well, there he is, Robin. So on that note, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you next video. See you now, bye bye.